Journalists were arrested or detained by police at least 48 times in the U.S. in 2024, making it the third worst year for the press in this country since we started tracking press freedom violations in 2017. 90% of those arrests took place around protests over the Israel-Gaza war, and nearly half were at the hands of New York City police. Hi, I'm Stephanie Sugar, senior reporter here at the U.S. Press Freedom Tracker. We catalog aggressions against the press across the country, including arrests and assaults of journalists, publishing gags, subpoenas seeking confidential reporting information, and more. Having just completed our annual analysis of journalist arrests, I wanted to share what we found. Arrests of journalists typically spike in years with national protests, and 2024 was no exception. Indeed, we documented more arrests this year than in the previous 2 years combined. Journalists were arrested or detained 42 times at protests across the country, from Oregon to New Hampshire, Texas to Tennessee. Even the 5 election-related arrests in this politically contentious year were at protests at least partially about the Israel-Gaza war. Three of them involved journalists arrested by Chicago police at protests around the Democratic National Convention in August. But covering protests wasn't the only kind of routine news gathering that led to trouble for journalists in 2024, and we have continued to see journalists criminally charged for standard journalistic practices. Last year, for instance, journalist Catherine Herridge faced potential charges for refusing to identify the sources behind reporting she did while at Fox News. This year, that possibility became a reality. In February, a judge held her in contempt and said she would be fined $800 a day until she complied. The fine was paused while her appeal is being heard. Meanwhile, journalist Tim Burke, whose Florida home and office were raided in 2023 as part of a criminal probe, was also charged in 2024. In February, the Justice Department indicted him on 14 felony counts, alleging conspiracy, wiretapping, and violations of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. He's still fighting the allegations. According to the Tracker's database, as of today, 5 journalists are still facing charges in the U.S. for their journalism. If you want to know more, keep an eye out for our annual arrest report and follow the link in our bio for a comprehensive guide on press freedom violations across the United States.